Mira Business FM, Dubai's home of business radio.
This is Mira Business FM, and we are broadcasting on the website, mirabusiness.fm. We're also on social media. We're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, etc. Wherever you're joining us, you are welcome. Download a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a like, a subscribe. It's always appreciated. Now, this hour, we're talking, this 40 minutes, we're talking recruitment with David Mackenzie, who is the big boss of Mackenzie Jones, and it's very nice to see you again. Thank you for coming in.
It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure, even though we're probably not going to talk about recruitment, are we?
No, I was going to harp on and continue the discussion from the previous hour and ask you for your favourite Christmas song, but I won't do that. We'll save that to the end.
Fair enough.
Actually, do you know what, David? We've got a lot of things to talk about that we haven't got to over the last few weeks. Just very busy with some very serious and weighty topics, as you could imagine. But I wanted to start with this today because we've mentioned this a few times, never really got into the details of this, and I think it's as relevant now as it was when COVID hit, when this became a thing, the idea of remote working, the complexities of it. Is it a thing of the past? Are people doing it? Where are we with it?
I'd like to say it's going to continue on, but I don't think it will do. I don't think in the Middle East it will do. The reason being, there is still a mentality here that people like to see people working. And I think bosses are certain bosses, their perception of hard work is they can see Johnny, Abdul, Ethel sitting in front of them working. I don't think that's the right thing, by the way. And we have, Mackenzie Jones have a 2 days a week from home, 3 days in the office.
And is that standard? What if you wanted to be in 5 days a week? You could choose to do that.
I'm meant to be off today, as you can tell by my casual attire.
It looks good.
Thank you. You've commented on it before, actually. I will wear a suit one day. I never want a suit.
No, don't.
So my guys can come in any time they want, but typically they don't because they have the flexibility, certainly with the traffic, to work from home, and they find it easier. I'm going in today, and I guarantee there'll be 3 or 4 people in the office.
Of how many?
40.
Really? So, and you're happy with that? I mean, you're a, the way you are, I guess, lends itself to being fine with that. Obviously, an enlightened individual.
Thank you.
But as few as that, I didn't realise.
Yeah, I mean, it technically. So they're off Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they typically use those. So we start slightly later. So we say you can go to the gym in the morning, you have to start by 9, and typically we say you finish at 5:30, so you can spend time with your kids. You can go and do some sport and stuff. Okay. So I'm not an enlightened boss. No, I'm trying to make myself sound amazing here. I'm not. I'm a bit of an old school worker. I work longer hours than most of my team, and typically they don't do what I do, which I really like.
Okay.
They don't do longer hours. They start at 8:30 and they finish at 5:30. And I don't want them answering their phone after working hours or at the weekend. Apart from Sunday, because we sort of have to because Saudi.
Okay, and is that certain people or is that
the whole company? I mean, some people choose not to, some people do, and it's not mandatory for them to answer the phone. Most of my consultants are pretty good. They will do if somebody calls.
We mentioned this sort of briefly over the last couple of weeks and never really got into any depth in this topic. But you did. I seem to remember you mentioning one person that maybe wasn't pulling their weight, was at home, and you kind of pointed towards that. But generally speaking, there's no real difference in the hours put in, the work that seems to be done, the output, the productivity.
I think some people work different ways to others. I'm an old school worker. I work hard all day. Some people just don't do that, but their results are still good. So as far as I'm concerned, they're producing what I'm expecting them to do.
Well, however you do it, if you get it done, you get it done, don't you?
Yeah, but there are people, I think. If you look at my universe of 40 people, I'm pretty sure there's 10% in there that probably work less hours than anyone else and probably aren't as productive.
Right.
But you can't. It's a bit of the analogy about runners. Not everyone's the fastest runner. Some people are the average runners. Some people are the slow ones. As a team of people, you need people that are generally just come in and do their job, and you need people that are superstars.
Yeah, okay.
You have to have a balance in a company. I think expecting everyone to be a superstar is wrong. I don't think. Some days I'm not a superstar. I have this analogy, actually. I have to justify my salary every month as the MD. If I'm not making money or contributing to a company, and everyone should have this mentality, then you have not earned your pay packet that month. So next month, you have to work twice as hard, in my view.
Okay, well, that's fair. I mean, it's a good attitude to have, isn't it? That you continually examine what you're doing and continue to re-examine what you're doing.
But I don't think people do that. I think people's mentality, and I know some of my people, when I see other recruitment companies, they go, well, I'm paid to work 8:30 to 5, so that's all I'm going to do, which is fine. But you will never be the MD.
Yeah, okay.
Just a fact.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, to what extent do you think that remote working has gone by the wayside because there's a realization amongst management that we're paying a lot for office space here. We need to be using it. That's got to factor in, hasn't it?
I think it starts from a much further back. So the people that, certainly in Europe, the people that own office blocks are pension funds. Mm-hmm. So people are living longer and hence are using their pension for longer, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah.
So what I think pension funds have realised that they've got to sweat their asset more, which is an office building, so we need more people in it. So converting them to apartments doesn't work so much anymore, certainly not in London and maybe not even in Dubai. Yep. So I think what's happening is now you've got an accountant in Dubai going, we've got, a tower here of 60 stories or whatever, we're using it 3 days a week, yet we're still running the AC, the water, the maintenance and everything. We need to use that more. So how can we do that? Either we can sublet it, which is not going to happen, or we just get our people in more. So in theory, we're using that asset more. We're like driving a car. If you leave it on the driveway, it doesn't appear to be of use anymore.
It's a very good point. How successful do you think that, because it seems to me that remote working was an experiment that, not that it's backfired, but I kind of think that we hanker after work for a number of reasons. First of all, there's the career development, the financial aspect of going to work every day. The other thing is, and this is very much something I've noticed, I was freelance for a long time and I would work from home a lot, but coming into this studio every day has kind of changed my mentality a little in that I'm probably less insular and slightly more social than I had become after 6 years of being a freelance person.
We are social creatures by the very nature as human beings. Yeah. There are some people on the spectrum that are more introverted and some are more extroverted, like myself. I crave human company. If I had to work at home every single day, I'd either build a Lego city.
Okay.
Or
any particular city?
I'm thinking Paris.
Nice.
Yeah. I can do cobble streets and tall tilt anyway.
Yeah. And the Lego would lend itself to cobbles.
You're on the same page on this one.
I know. I've built a few Lego
We're going to build one together now. We are. Studio. Yeah. but I do think that the problem with we were forced into home working or remote working by COVID. COVID changed the whole parallel of working, and it suddenly made people realise actually you can work from home and still be productive. What happened after COVID? Managers went, we need people back in the office because the whole social fabric of our company is falling apart. We need to have people that can, like my guys come in on Monday and Friday. They chose those days, but I didn't do that. They chose them. The reason is Monday after the weekend, they can chat about the weekend. Friday, they can talk about the weekend they're going to be going into, and they can socialise. And we found that they shed a lot more work and activity and stuff like that. So I think the way the world is going, I think there will still be a remote working, providing that employees use it properly, because all you need is to give an excuse to a manager to take it away from you because you're not being productive, you're being lazy, or you're suddenly sick every Friday or every Monday, and then they're going to use it as an excuse to take it away from you. The sensible people here use remote working to work properly, and a lot of people find it much more effective because there's no distractions. So we have a lady called Evan who runs one of our projects. She finds working at home much better for her, and she's much more productive because she's just single-mindedly focused on her job.
Yeah, but that's a very particular type, isn't it, of person?
It is, and again, if I look at myself, I'm suited to work 1 or 2 days a week from home, but not permanently because I need the distraction of other people to stimulate my mind and my thought process.
And you don't have an office at work, do you? You just sit in... No, a room. It's open plan.
We have banks of desks, and it's all open plan. It's exposed ceiling. It's very, very cool.
Very hipster.
We've got breakout rooms that are soundproofed, which are like little pods. You can fit 4 people in, 2 in another, etc. And we encourage everyone to do their calls. And I walk around the office making my calls. I don't believe in offices. I think that a boss should be an example to their employees.
But can you concentrate Do you ever have any issues concentrating? Because I always think sometimes I need to sort of take myself away and just sit and really think something through. And I suppose that's what a breakout room's for. I've answered my own question.
No, but it's a good point. I mean, and some people know what I'm like because my PA does it. She goes, David, and I go, give me 2 minutes. And that means I'm focused.
Right.
Because I'm in a bank, everyone can sit. There's no doors, everyone can chat to me and stuff, which is exactly how it should be. But if I really want to, as you're saying, if I want to focus on, I'm writing a project or doing a proposal or something, I go into one of the breakout rooms, pull the door, they're soundproofed, and I just focus.
Okay.
And often put my headphones and put some music on.
And people know to stay away.
Pretty much. But if anybody's in those breakout rooms, nobody really interrupts them because they're either on calls with candidates or clients or they're trying to do something productive. So we typically leave them to do it.
It's really interesting. I'm always interested in the dynamics of workplaces and why things work the way they do. And the whole complexity of remote working gets to me because I can kind of see both sides in that. Productivity is clearly important to most managers, and you need to be able to monitor. And if you can't monitor, then you can't do your job effectively as a manager. So I can see the issue with that. But also, you've got to trust people.
You do, and I think some of those people will give you that back tenfold. Others won't. Others will take the mickey a bit.
Yeah.
But the reality is, some days they'll be amazing. Other days they won't be. You just have to look at the outcomes of what they do. My business is very simple. We make money for placing candidates, but also we have things like client success stories. So every time we place somebody, we send a message out to the client saying, how did the process go? We measure our people on that.
Okay. I'm glad that we got to that because it's been at the top of my list of things to talk about for a while. So now I can effectively tick the box and delete it. So that works.
But it comes back.
It will. The other thing that you brought this up, I think it was the first week that you came in to join us here at Mira, and it's this: how do I deal with millennials, Gen Z? And it's another thing that we've kind of talked about a couple of times, but never really got to. And I know that. There are issues with this, and it is generational, and we got a little bit into it last week, but I wanted to keep the discussion going because I find it remarkable. One of the things that I've kind of learned, because I'm very firmly, Gen...
What are you?
I'm Gen X.
Is that what I am?
Yeah, you're Gen X, absolutely.
Okay.
Gen X.
So, what's a 20-year-old?
A 20-year-old would be Alpha. No, Alpha's a little bit younger than that. I think right at the end of Z.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of on the cusp, but Alpha's the next one, isn't it? So my kids are 19, 22 years old. So they're sort of, on the cusp, I suppose. And their way of thinking is completely different to mine. But there's more of a combination of them because generationally we have been kind of thrust together because they're my children. So the millennial generation's completely missed out in my world. So my kind of not issue, because that wouldn't be a fair way to put it, but I run into kind of a lack of understanding at times with a millennial or a Gen Y person, because that's never been really in my orbit. Does that make sense?
It does, and I'm trying to put that into a workspace. So I might go one further than that. The other bit you've got extroverts, you've got introverts, and people like that. So there's this whole new culture, this sort of woke's the wrong. I don't think woke is the right word, but the workforce is now made up of different types of people, and some of those people are people you would not naturally associate with normally. Because if you're a massive introvert, I wouldn't necessarily, because I'm an extrovert, I don't necessarily work with them. But I've got quite a few introverts in my business, and I've had to work out how they work. So let me give you an example. Manuri's my intern. She's an Indian lady. She's an Indian girl, actually, because she's not a lady. She's 19, just turned 20. Right. She's an introvert, quite a big introvert, actually, but she's superbly clever. So my challenge from my HR person was, how are you going to work with her? I'm like, why is that my problem? And she goes, because it is.
It kind of is, yeah.
So I went, that's a good point. How do I do that? And so I've spent time with her understanding what drives her. And what drives her isn't success in terms of shouting about what hers is, being given a task and being given the freedom to do it and then show me the outcome. sometimes the outcome, in my view, is not what I asked for.
Okay.
Which she's happy with, but I need to explain why. And each time she learns.
And she's happy with the guidance or the criticism or,
I don't really she doesn't really work for me. She's my intern, so I make sure that. So somebody asked me the other day from the National, actually, what do you think of internship programs? I said they're brilliant, but don't treat them as slave labour. You have to pay. First of all, you have to pay an intern.
Need to pay,
we pay our intern.
Yeah.
And I've given her 4 projects to do.
We pay our intern.
Well, we have to.
That just came out.
We pay her in gold.
Yeah, exactly.
But we also give her projects that she's got to achieve, because if not, the amount you pay her, there's no valuation in that.
Right.
From her perspective as well.
Sure.
She was meant to be with 3 months. She's been with us 6 months. Because
she's staying with you, isn't she?
I don't think she will, actually. I think she wants to. And this is what I said to her, what do you want to do? She goes, I love doing this. I want to try something different next.
Good for her.
Yeah,
Good for her.
honestly, she's going to get a fantastic reference from me. By the way, if anybody wants a great intern, give me a call. She's really good. Her name's Manuri. She's an amazing character. I'm so pleased with having her as my intern.
We've kind of gone off there, but
Yes,
I want to stick on this for a minute, actually, because I'm interested. When you're talking about introverts and extroverts, and extroverts, very easy to understand. But let's take Manuri as the example. Is she introverted because she's learning and she's younger and she's gaining experience, or is it just
she's shy? That's
her nature?
I think it's her nature, and actually, when I was interviewing for interns, there was a great guy from Côte d'Ivoire. He had bleached yellow hair. He was
You've mentioned him
he's
before.
very cool. But I hope he's got a good job. And I wanted him, but my HR person said, you're going to need to see this lady, but don't judge her for the first 10 minutes. I'm like, what? Why am I wasting my time? Just see her. Sue's my Indian HR. She's fantastic. And so I saw her first 10 minutes. I looked at Sue and I'm like, why are you wasting my time? And she looked at me and gave me that one eyebrow up, like, don't make me come over there.
Yeah.
So I listened, and I realized the boss. Then I realised why she'd put her in front of me. What she said was brilliant. The way she analysed our website, our social media. What she wasn't very good was telling me about how to fix it.
Okay.
But what I saw was a really raw talent, and what I've actually got her, I got her some external coaching from one of our HR people. And it's brought her out. Now, she's still not the most confident person, but she's really good when you give her space and time to explain something. And, she's doing a degree at the same time, by the way. So she's doing 2 jobs at once.
Yeah.
She always gives me updates. She's always in contact. She messaged me this morning. On National Day, she did our National Day posting. She did it while she wasn't, while she's meant to be on holiday. I didn't need to drive her. She's got a great work ethic.
And that's just innate, isn't it?
I think her parents are, I don't know her parents, but they've got, fairly okay jobs. But I think they've instilled a good sense of pride in what she does. And honestly, if she can build her confidence levels, which she will do as she gets older, I think she's going to be an amazing employee. I wish we could keep her. I just don't think we're the right company for her to stay at.
Okay. Well, this all relates bizarrely or not, that, whether you're introverted or extroverted, it still relates because the millennial, Gen Y, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whatever it is, generational divide that we all have to contend with is something that we all have to deal with and work out, and we do it in our own way. But the point of it is to, I think, and this is what I've kind of learned, is to try not to judge people, try to be a little bit more curious.
Difficult, isn't it?
But it is very hard to do. But I find if I try and put myself in somebody else's shoes, and I'm terrible at this, and I'm freely admitting I'm terrible because I'm a judgmental scumbag.
I think
in
we
lots
all
of
are.
ways.
By nature, we all are.
Most of us, yeah. But, I meet people sometimes and I think, how can you be so forgiving and so nice? And I marvel at these people. But you have to do that. But generationally, it's very difficult because there are times when you think, it's condescending. And I think, oh, you'll learn. Yeah, why did you ask me that dumb question? You'll learn. And I have to stop myself doing that because I don't know everything.
But there is a point as we get older, we get a bit more grumpy old person, don't we? And I think we're a bit more set in our ways. I'm looking at you as well. But I think what I've tried to do as I've got more mature, let's put it that way,
Right.
is try and understand why somebody's doing something. And it's very difficult as a boss when you've got targets to hit, you've got very prescribed ideas of what you think success looks like.
Yeah.
You sometimes have to take a step back and go, I may not be right on this. So let me see how that works. And sometimes you're proven right, which is the worst thing possible because you could have foretold that. But other times you go, wow. And I think the more times that happens, the more as an individual, the more as a manager, you learn to be a better manager because you don't, as you put, judge a book by its cover. I go to the gym a lot, okay? You can't tell, obviously, but when people slam their weights down, I go, idiot. And there's a guy in my gym that does it all the time. And actually, I was like, I already judged him to be a meathead. And he turned around to me the other day and he said, would you show me how to do this? And I was like, really? And I showed him, and he's actually a lovely, lovely guy.
Yeah.
And it made me feel disappointed in myself because the last 6 months I've been going, meathead, he can't, he slams his weights on the ground, he's doing it for attention.
It's almost disappointing when you do that.
I was so disappointed in myself.
I knew I was right and I'm not. I know. But the idea of tolerance is kind of an alien thing. But look, I'm thinking of generations, the way, I was brought up by, I suppose they were boomers. I don't even know what that generation is called. But,
Soldiers.
My children, well, exactly, are definitely Gen Z. The Gen Ys or the millennials are the parents of the Generation Alpha, and that's the next bunch coming into the workforce. So the attitudes that millennials may hold dear, that maybe I don't agree with, that's going to now come back again. So the cycle continues.
I don't think it
it's
will.
It's a bi-generational thing.
I think that people call the millennials the lost generation because, and it's their parents that it's their fault to a degree because they told them you can be whoever you want, you don't be judged and all these things, which is fine. I agree with all that. But in theory, you've got to do a job and you've got to adhere to certain procedures and disciplines at work.
Well, that's why this is important in the workplace.
Exactly.
Because it applies to all of these generations.
Yeah.
So it's getting people to work together. And as much as, we laugh about it and we're this and we're that, actually it's a really important thing because there are divides that shouldn't really be there.
Very true. And
because
I think
we are the same.
And the millennials, I think, is the biggest divide that we've ever seen. I mean, one of my millennials the other day said to me, why'd you get into work so early?
Is that any character? One of my millennials.
I did, one of my millennials.
That's maybe why it's not working.
But part of what me was going, I felt like going, are you an idiot? When I suddenly thought, why are they asking that? And I said, a couple of reasons. One is I like to start early. Traffic's really bad. I live quite far out. I live in the desert, so I have to get to work early. And she went, I said, why do you get in on time every day? Well, that's what my hours are.
Okay.
And part of me didn't want to say, well, if you worked a bit longer hours, you might be better at your job, because I don't think she would be.
Oh, okay.
No, I think she does her job, and this is why I try to understand that there's no right and wrong with millennials. I think you have to give them a task to do. If they achieve that within 8 to 5:30, that's what they're paid to do. If they come to you and, why aren't I the manager, then the conversation is different, because my expectations for you is not to do your job to influence others, go beyond your job spec, to do a bit more. It's like when people say to me, why haven't I got a bonus? Because you did your job. So doing your job is what you get your salary for.
Yeah.
You get a bonus because you've exceeded your job. You've done better. When people say, well, I've done my job, I need my bonus. It's not how bonuses work. The very nature of the word, bonus.
Yeah. It's from Latin.
Boni.
Something like that, yeah. We could conjugate that verb for a while. I always enjoy you coming here, but
I'm not sure I should be allowed on the radio.
No, I've heard that before a few times as well. But it is such an interesting conversation. The problem is with this, we're tiring people with one brush, and that's a very unfair thing to do. But all you can do is take a set of parameters and apply them, and you come out with these kind of generational divides. And clearly that's not a fair thing to do. But I just wonder how you deal with that. And I think the idea of trying to be less judgmental, trying to be more tolerant is a good thing. And I keep telling myself, I need to work towards that. And of course, it's maybe not the most winning of battles.
But it doesn't matter, because if you think about it, in 10 times in a day, if you're judgmental, one day you do it 8 times, then it's 7 times, you're getting better.
But then you are,
And I think I've learned from a business perspective that you don't make a decision too quickly, because if somebody says something to you, your DNA says, well, the answer's this. And often you've got to go, well, why is the answer this? They're telling me this. Maybe you need to think about it a bit more. And you'll find you learn an awful lot more. I think this analogy, old dogs and new tricks, is completely wrong. As I've got older, I've probably learned more from people like Manuri and some of my other team that come up with different ways to tackle a problem. For me, it's made me feel better as a boss because I've learned things.
Yeah.
I learned to do things better. I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I'm definitely not, but I think I'm still open to learning, which I kind of like about myself.
So you're getting there, do you think?
I don't think I'm ever going to get there. I think
You're on the way. You just
it's like
boarded the bus.
It's like this is the real. It's like when those dogs the back legs don't work and they put little carriages on, they can really run fast. Yeah. I'm a bit like that. I think that some parts are failing. They're going to.
Okay, well, we'll get you medical appointments at some point for you, especially. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about today was, and you sent me this yesterday, and this is an article that came out, April this year, and it's written by a director of talent acquisition, Jan Tex, who I don't know if you know. This is just an article that appeared on LinkedIn, and it's titled 18 LinkedIn Scams I Fell For. So in brackets, you don't have to. LinkedIn is, I guess, first of all, let's start here. LinkedIn, incredibly important if you're a professional in this day and age. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, what does that mean? You don't
Pretty much you're not serious about your career.
You're not serious, you
no,
don't really exist.
It's that important. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to put that in context because, I'm terrible. Social media-wise, I'm terrible, and I don't post very much. I try and react a little bit to stuff that's going on, but I always kind of think, I'll get to it, and I should say that. And I never do it, and it's terrible. And I see you posting, articles and ideas and writing posts about, things that are going on, and I kind of respect that. But, I do update my profile every now and again, but that's really all I do. It's bad. Is that irresponsible?
No, I think some creative industries, LinkedIn isn't so relevant because you're a creative. I'm assuming you're a creative. I believe you're a creative.
I'm not sure, but maybe.
Well, let's go with that.
Thanks.
I think LinkedIn is for an office environment or a professional environment. It's the go-to place. It's the one place you can go. And remember, LinkedIn is a community established by the community members. So they generate content and they generate views, etc. They post jobs and things like that. So it's a very nicely worked community.
Right.
And I think if you're not on there as a professional in this day and age, you're missing a trick because it's where people will connect with you to find you and to find you a new job potentially.
It does do that, and it has had an effect. I have to be honest about that, and I know I should do more with it. But the other side of it is, aside from I'm so blessed to be able to announce this post, which gets me riled. Let's put it that way. I find it a little bit insincere. Not in all cases, but very often it's a little bit insincere. So I avoid that part of it. But there is also the other side, the slightly more nefarious side of people, trying to entice you in, saying, I can help you rewrite your CV, I can do this, I can offer you this, and
I've got a great story on this. So LinkedIn, was it the FBI or somebody discovered a LinkedIn scam. So people in some of the defense industries who are making the parts for missile systems, guidance systems, were being contacted by people on LinkedIn for jobs. Normal, so you'd accept a LinkedIn. They're starting to have a dialogue with them, and they were starting to ask about their job, what they did. And they found out that some of these people were so good, they were getting engineers to give secrets across them. And they found out it was. I'm not going to tell you the country because I might disappear. But they were found out to be one of the big superpowers was using LinkedIn to basically do industrial espionage. It was brilliant. Yeah, it was very clever. And I think you have to be very careful about when somebody connects you on LinkedIn that they've got provenance, i.e. they're from a good company. You should never pay a recruiter money to find you a job, by the way. We always get paid by clients.
Okay,
Legal requirement.
Yeah.
So if somebody's asking you, I can get you a job and get you on a shortlist, you just need to pay me a small admin fee. You'll find lots of people from LinkedIn are trying to do that.
Really?
You've got to be super careful now. And LinkedIn was always very much about business, but it's now There's some that article is really interesting. There's about 30 scams, isn't there?
There are loads and loads of scams. There's one particular scam that is showing up a lot, particularly in comments, is that scammers act friendly. They offer helpful tips. They recommend a trusted expert, but it's fake. So it's tricks like pretending to be experts, creating a sense of urgency, offering fake support to fool you.
Yep.
And the one thing that came out with most of these, I think, is that it's generally people who will not speak to you, and it's always I will get back to you, and it's not won't even schedule not just a phone call but a Zoom call and everything else, and that seemed to be kind of the alarm bells.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, the way with LinkedIn is if somebody contacts you on LinkedIn, check out their profile. What you can do, you can see the picture of the individual.
Yeah.
If you copy that picture and you go to TinEye, you can put that picture into TinEye, and it can tell you if that's an original picture or not.
Okay.
What you'll often find is it'll go, your son, there's about 100 pictures of this person in its stock art.
Right.
So immediately that person's fake. So don't react to them. But also find out how long they've been in that company. Is it a legitimate company? What are the comments on there? What have they posted? You've got to do a bit of investigation work. Just don't assume everyone is who they say they are.
No, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? When people want to connect with you on LinkedIn, you have the option to say yes, or you can
Ignore.
not, and then you ignore, and then you have the little box that comes up, and there's a reason for that, and it's always what is I don't know this person. So I would always click on that and say, well, find that they want to connect, but I don't know them. Why would I connect with somebody I don't know when it's somebody obviously, or I believe is.
But if somebody from Paramount Pictures wanted to connect with you because they're a podcast specialist,
I'd be all over that.
Exactly. So, example, if somebody connects up with you and they're a real estate agent and you're not looking for a house, just ignore them.
Well, that's the thing. But I would give a reason to say, look, I don't know them, and I'm not sure. I feel like they're going to be trying to sell me something.
Yes.
And I don't really want
There's
to be sold.
lots of selling on LinkedIn. Lots.
Is there
of selling.
really?
Yeah. I mean, I probably get about 50 messages a day. Of which I reckon about 35 are trying to sell me AI, chatbots, recruitment specialists trying to sell my business, you name it. You can tell all those, and I typically ignore all those. But I get candidates going, "Hi, David, you've been recommended by so and so. Can we have?" Those are the ones I want to speak to.
Yeah. Okay. And how good are you replying to?
I try and reply to. I try and pick out of those 50. The top 5 or 6 ones that I've got to reply to, I should be replying to. But I get overwhelmed with messages. I also get WhatsApps, I also get emails, and I get LinkedIn.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, in your position, if people are obviously looking for work and think, well, I'll go straight to the top. I'll talk to them. And how would you deal with that?
If they're good, and they're in terms of they fit what we do as a recruitment company and they fit into our sectors, I'll pass it to one of my consultants to deal with, or I will message them and say, look. Sorry, I'm not the right person. Or Mackenzie Jones, don't do this. This is a company to speak to. But to be honest with you, do I get back to everyone? Answer's no. I physically don't have enough time in the day.
No, I was going to imagine.
And the problem is, you've got to remember in recruitment terms, we place an advert. I placed a UA National HR Director advert the other day. I got 900 replies. Guess how many were UA Nationals?
I'm guessing it's probably single figures, to be honest with you.
2.
Really?
2 people. 2
nationals.
of
900.
900.
So you said this before as well, that it for a lot of people it's just a numbers game, and I might as well just apply. I'll put my CV in, but that doesn't work.
What it does, and you have to remember this. The mentality should be that what you're doing, if you answer an advert you're not right for, and you think I'll have a go, you're stopping somebody in that 900 being identified by someone like me.
Yeah.
You're stopping somebody getting a job. It's a bit like when it's foggy and people put the hazard lights on. Come on.
I know.
But you know what I mean? It's
particular bugbear.
Exactly. But the thing is, people have to be responsible for what they do when they search for a job, because doing easy applying for every single job for an HR director, and you're a UA National, and you're a sales manager from UK, why are you applying?
Well,
what do you think is going to happen?
Because in the back of your mind, you think, I should be looking, I should be applying to everything, and it may be a numbers game, and something on my CV may jump out, because we all think we're special, don't we? I suppose that's the process.
No,
I don't know.
What you're saying is an element of truth in that, and people's perception is that you need to be active when you're in your job search, which is exactly right.
Yeah.
But you need to be active in the right way. Don't apply for roles that you know you cannot fulfill. So you'll look at the bottom of the spec and it says, I want a UA national with 25 years HR experience. And if you're a sales manager from Nottingham with 3 years experience, you're probably not going to be right for that role. So there's no point in you applying.
Yeah, probably not. But at least you're deluded and happy.
No, but I love your beautiful view on this. As a recruiter, I'm sitting there pulling my hair out, and I haven't got much hair.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the reason.
My biggest frustration, and my consultant's biggest frustration, is we could be much more productive and we could help more people if people took responsibility and applied for the right adverts with the right experience. We are getting lost because we have so much response that we're relying on AI and technology to screen people out.
And the other side of that is people don't trust you because they don't think you're doing the job, but physically you can't do the job. I'm trying to imagine having that many LinkedIn messages a day that you must feel this is a real human being. I should be, if I can.
Got to remember, we do this job for two reasons. One is it's our job and we make money out of it.
Yeah.
Secondly, there's a part of you that wants to be successful and you want to help people. I genuinely like helping candidates get jobs. I really like talking to people and helping them because that's my DNA. I get super frustrated when I can't do that. And the biggest issue everyone says to me when they meet me in a social environment, oh, you're a recruiter, you never get back to people. And I want to say, do you realise what we do every day to try and make you happy as a candidate? We really want to help you, but the problem is we want to help you, but there's 900 other people that are screwing that up because they're not reading the adverts properly and they're applying for the wrong thing, which means they can't spend time with you. It's a real problem in recruitment at the moment. It's particularly in the UAE as well, or the GCC. In UK, it doesn't happen.
Why? What's the difference?
Because people are a lot more sensible about applying for jobs because there's one nationality in the UK. They typically are British.
Okay.
Here we've got British, South African, Filipino, Indian, Pakistani, Russian, who have different values and different ways they do things. You can see the way they drive, you see the way they interact with you on a day-to-day basis. It's a very different culture here.
So it's a very different expectation.
Yeah, and I think this is the beauty of the Middle East and also the downside of the Middle East, where you can be anything here, but also you can do anything here in terms of applying for jobs, and there's no rigor to it.
Okay, so right. So is there how do you screen people? Is there any way of whittling that 900 down?
Yeah, through AI or through technology.
So it's the only way you can do it.
And then what that means is then people go, well, you never get back to me.
Yeah.
Because when I see that, and I was at a conference recently talking in Saudi about this, and one of the Saudi cats said, recruiters never get back to me. And I'm like, do you know what we do as a job? Our job is, we're paid by the clients to get you a job. We really want to place you. We've got to find you first. And the problem is we've got to go through, it's a bit like walking through a minefield. You need to get to the other side where the person is. You've got to walk through the minefield, and occasionally one blows up, and it's probably the wrong analogy, but you know what I mean? It's so difficult navigating through the morass of people when they all want to have a chat with you. And believe me, if I could spend all my time talking to candidates, I'd love to do that because I really want to help people. I genuinely believe people are good-natured and they want to be successful. But the problem is, and I go back to that, if you're a UA national and you've got an HR experience, I want to speak to you. But if you're a British guy who's got 2 years sales experience, you're never going to be relevant for that job. So please don't apply for that.
There you go. That's you told.
Bit of a rant, but I
but I can understand that.
I get frustrated, and I think my consultants get frustrated by, you constantly hear people, well, consultants never get back to me.
So particularly at the moment, I think, we talk very often, don't we, about Dubai's growth, and we've got to this point where, the population's hit 4 million, and, everybody's looking for the next thing. Yeah. You can understand why it is that. Yeah. There's another side to this as well. You're in a good position. You're in an industry that ain't going to go under anytime soon. Let's put it that way.
Well, yeah, but the job market's not that great at the moment.
No?
No, I mean, I think the analogy, there are too many people here and not enough jobs.
Okay.
Now we've been here 22 years, so we're respected as a recruitment company. So typically clients will come to us because they know that we do a good job and we're very honourable about what we do. I think as the market starts to stabilise more, the job market will get better. Let's face it, the UAE is always going to be successful. We know this. It's always been successful. There's been dips and peaks, but it's always been there. The reason why, our lovely Chancellor at the moment of the Exchequer is...
Here we go.
Honestly.
Is there another rent coming?
No, but
okay.
she's created the property market for the UAE, isn't she? By basically convincing about 1 million British people to come to the UAE in the last year.
I think there's an argument for that probably somewhere, but unfortunately it is 10:59.
Fair enough.
We're going to have to leave it there.
We're going to go again next week.
We are. We'll get back to that. We didn't get to most of the things on the list here, but we got
Fair
to
enough.
some of them today, and that's the most important thing. David Mackenzie is the founder and the CEO and the big cheese.
Grand fromage.
Mackenzie
I
Jones.
like that.
The Grand Fromage of Mackenzie Jones. I'm not sure that we'll leave it there.